So I've actually never done a video talking about my ProPress tool that I use to build my systems. I'm actually kind of surprised. I get asked quite a bit about it, what tools I have, so I always in all my videos have a lot of the components and parts I use, as well as tools and some links if you want to purchase your own. So I'll put a link to this and the rigid version as well. With both of them I recommend. So I obviously here have the Milwaukee. I was able to pick up this kit used for like $1,500, which is a pretty good deal. And then I ended up actually purchasing separately. This specific kit only came with the 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1 inch jaws. I ended up picking up separately an 1 1/4, even though the case comes with a spot for it. They offer a version for people that don't want to spend as much, but likely only need to press up to like 1 inch. Standard plumbing in a residential home is typically 1/2 inch, 3/4. You may not even see 1 inch. So when you're doing boilers, you're pretty much seeing 1/2 inch to 1 1/4. I do go above that as well, which we utilize a larger tool to do so. This one's only capable of pressing 1 1/4. This M12 Force Logic specific model will only press 1 1/4, but that covers 90% of the jobs that I'm doing here in my shop. So highly recommend it. Again, I'm going to also mention the rigid one because I've used that model as well many times, and I also recommend that one. It works great. I really have noticed no differences between the two. They both do the job. They're both very manageable. They're both very ergonomic. This one you could see actually spins completely, and that allows you to adjust the head and to sort of get into any sort of spots. When I'm building boiler systems on a board, and for example over here, it's not as much of a concern because I have a lot of access to pressing all of these parts. But if you are a plumber and you're getting into a crawl space or just tight plumbing and you really need to adjust that head into a certain angle and get it into a spot underneath a sink or something like that, it works really good. And these tools have gotten really small over the past few years. They're really moving quick with the upgrades and improvements to these. The old pistol grip style ones were really big, really bulky, hard to move around, hard to fit into tight spaces. So, I mean, this right now, as far as I'm concerned, it's getting to the point where just like, for example, the impact tool, and here's a Makita, but you can see that the tool itself is far smaller than the actual battery that powers it. So you're starting to see that with these ProPress tools. This is getting very small, and the jaws itself obviously have to stay the same size because it has to do the job and crimp that pipe. So highly recommend it. These as well, actually, I was a little concerned when I first was looking at the different models, Milwaukee versus, sorry, I'm drawing a blank here, Milwaukee versus the rigid tool, as far as calibration. So that once I looked into it, I didn't realize that you could literally use this tool like 30,000 times. You could press 30,000 fittings before it actually will notify you that it needs calibrating, and then you would just send it into Milwaukee and they would calibrate it. So not a big deal. I mean, if you are plumbing every single day, doing big jobs, I mean, it could that 30,000 could, I guess, add up pretty quick, but you're still talking about a ton of fittings before you even need calibration. And even though it needs calibration, it doesn't mean every fitting after 30,000 presses is going to fail. It just means, okay, it's time to send it in and check that it's still within specs and calibrate if needed. So again, I guess highly recommended. There's not too many other brands out there that are offering these right now, unless you go with like Viver, which can sell for half the cost. I would just be skeptical because you may not be able to find the specs as far as what it's capable of when it needs calibration. You might have trouble finding places to calibrate it, if at all. Not knocking on those brands. I'm sure they actually work really well for the price, because I do look at this and I say, does this thing really need to be, in some cases, $3,000? And obviously a lot of that just goes into the research development and engineering to make the tool and for them to pay that off over the years. But to me, it's worth every penny. If you're doing this kind of work, it's sort of a necessity. So I will leave links, like I said, in the description. Check out any of my other videos, lots of other reviews on tools as well, but we do tons of boiler builds. We get into a lot of details about this. I really appreciate all you guys' comments. And like I said, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Like this video. And with that said, we'll see you guys on the next one.